going on? We're in the shop here today. Actually not gonna go on the dyno today. We're gonna do something a little different. Got a 350Z behind me, and I'm gonna get a Link ECU install going on it. So this car is it's a pretty simple one. It's got bolt-ons, it's got some cams in it, and of course, since it had cams, it wouldn't idle or drive well on the stock ECU. But yeah, just some simple mods, still an intake and cams, and it's got some headers and stuff. So it should be, I think this will be a good simple car to kind of show an ECU install on. So we're not going to be doing anything super crazy. Just probably going to set up some launch control and things like that, but nothing too wild. Turbo or supercharger, nothing like that. So I think it'll be a good one. So on this one, we're doing the Link plug-in and the G4X, which is their latest and greatest unit there for the 350Z. It's a pretty cool unit. You actually take the backing plate off of the stock ECU and attach it to there, and it plugs right into the factory harness, so that's nice. And I usually like to go with the Link CAN wideband, but on this one we're actually doing the 14.7 wideband. It uses a Bosch sensor, so it's not going to have a CAN wideband setup, but it is just going to have a 0 to 5 volt input to the ECU. So at least we still can set up some things, some safeties and stuff like that based on air-fuel ratio. So that'll be good for that. I like to have at least something there just to monitor it for the guy and everything. So we went with that as a budget option. It's about half the price of the CAN Lambda. But yeah, it should be super simple. We're just gonna pop the stock ECU out and put the Link ECU in. And I guess while we're here, I'll show you around the corner of this shop here. I don't really show this side because it's really not done. Of course, here's my 14. It's getting ready for some things. But yeah, this corner of the shop has been kind of useless lately. I want to put like some workbenches over here or something like that. If anybody's got any good plans for building workbenches, put it in a link below or something like that. Put it in the comments, because I need some help. That's not really my forte. I know how to build cars and tune cars, but not really much of a carpenter. So but I want to build some stuff for over there just to make the shop a little more useful. But yeah, like I said, got the 14 over here. It's waiting on some things. I'm getting really excited about it because I've been gathering things. Got my little box over here, and so I've got my turbo in here, got a cheap manifold, Turbo Smart wastegate, some injectors. I ended up getting the K20 coils for it because I've actually got a harness coming from Mark at Panic Wire for a Link Monsoon setup for it. I haven't ordered my ECU yet, but I mean, that's easy for me to get. So I wanted to get the harness out of the way, and I just got tracking on that, so I'm pretty excited about that deal. But he had an option to do coil on plug, so I figured, why not? Let's do coil on plug and make it nice and clean. So that's gonna be, I may first install it just with the distributor, and then maybe later do the coil on plug. But I'm just kind of gathering parts right now. I wish I was putting this thing in it, but unfortunately it's not time for that yet. K24A2 for you guys that don't know what that is. But great engine, but that may be for another project at a later date. Let's get this install going. So step one, as always, you're going to want to go here and remove the negative battery terminal. That's important. Before you start messing with the ECU, do that first. You don't want to mess anything up, so just don't forget to do that. Alright, so it's pretty simple to get to the ECU. There's a panel that's here. It's just a couple screws, couple clips, get it right out of there, and then there is our ECU there. So it's just got a few bolts holding it in there, some 10 mils, and some brackets, and we'll just slide that out of there. This one, actually I think it's about halfway out already, so we'll find some hardware to attach it when we're done. All right, so there you have it. There's the Link, and there is the stock ECU. And I'll tell you, you run into some surprises whenever you're dealing with a car that's been through a few hands. That definitely says supercharged on it. And really, judging by the hood that's on this car, it's got the hump in the hood. I wonder if this car might have had a Stillen supercharger on it or something at one point in its life, and maybe that was the ECU for it, and it was in a shop, or who knows what. But at some point in time, somebody wrote supercharged on there. So but yeah, what we're going to do is on the back of here, you take these screws out, and then it does take a little prying, and you get it off of there, and then you swap the backing plate to the Link ECU. All right, I probably should have filmed that, but I didn't. But we got it all swapped on, got the cover on, and as you see, I mean, it's all gonna attach like stock. There's the old one, won't be needing that anymore. Get that out of here. This thing came with screws to mount it, because it does need longer screws, because the other ones are way too short for this type of deal. So forgive the hands, I'm working hard today. But yeah, so now it's ready to go in the car. Another piece that I sometimes use on these Link installs, most of your options and stuff, you would end up needing the expansion loom to do that. Since this one, really the only thing I'm adding is the O2 sensor, I'm actually going to put it into one of the factory connectors and use one of the pins that's not used anymore. I mean, that's the thing, sometimes, you know, you can repurpose things that aren't being used anymore. So I'm just going to use one of the old narrowband O2 sensor inputs and put our wideband in there, since we don't really need the old narrowbands anymore, and then we'll be able to see our wideband and everything through a 0 to 5 volt input. All right, so one other change is that when we go to this ECU now, we're going to be speed density. So as you can see here, it's got a little port on the side there, and that's for the internal map sensor. So we're no longer going to need this mass airflow sensor. We're going to use it for the air temp sensor portion of it, but it's not going to affect our fueling at all anymore. So with EFI, you have different ways of load sensing, whether it be a speed density or a mass airflow sensor, or even sometimes an alpha in, which would mean it would be throttle based. On this one, we're going to go map based, which is speed density. So what we're going to need for that is a manifold vacuum source. So on this particular car, there's a nice convenient port right here, which that cap is on there pretty tough. I had to cut that dude off of there, but there's a port there that's going to give us a manifold vacuum source. So then we're going to hook a line to there and run it back through here, probably through the hole there, into the ECU that'll be in the corner there. So should be nice and easy to get this in there and get the Link ECU set up in here. All right, we got our map sensor line ran, super easy. Just hooked up to the manifold here, some of the silicone hose, running it through here, running into the battery compartment, and then along here over to this rubber boot here that is convenient to put it through. So it's going to go straight down to the inside, and that's going to give us our manifold vacuum source to the ECU. So it doesn't really matter where on the manifold it comes from, you just take it from somewhere convenient. I mean, this had a convenient spot that was there and unused, so I just borrowed that. But you can drill and tap for a fitting or whatever you want to do. You just need manifold vacuum source, which means after the throttle body. That's really it. It's that simple. All right, so we're back. I actually ended up having to split this up over a couple days because I got a little busy yesterday and I had to go. So explains the wardrobe change, different shirt, whatever. But yeah, I got things installed. I got the line ran for the map sensor signal, and I also installed the wideband, which I didn't get any video of that underneath the car, but I think you guys know what a wideband sensor looks like, and you know, whatever. So yeah, so now I've just got to I've got the ECU installed inside. All that's ran in here, which you can kind of see up there. There's our ECU up there. It's mounted all in the factory location. It's going to plug right into that factory harness. And then this is the USB cable that we will use to communicate with the ECU. So you want to make sure you install that USB cable before you mount the ECU up, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to plug it in, because your blower for the AC and everything is going to be kind of in the way. It's a real tight fit up there, but if you unbolt the bracket, bolt the ECU to the bracket, and then put the bracket and ECU up there with the USB cable attached, it goes in flawlessly. So just a note for that, because if not, you'll have to pull it back apart and do it again. But yeah, so now we are to the point. I've just got to add in a couple of inputs for the wideband, get it powered up and all that stuff, and then I'll run through going through the initial startup process. All right, so we got our ECU installed, got everything powered up, ready to go. But before you can even load a base file on this thing or anything to start it, first thing you have to do is have a unlock code. Your dealer would supply you with that unlock code. And so what you're gonna do is, in your PC Link software, what we're gonna get hooked up, turn the key on, and you're gonna wanna go up here to ECU controls and go right down here to ECU unlock. Now, what you're gonna have is a serial number there, and that's the serial number you would need to send to your dealer or whatever to get the unlock code. So I've already got my unlock code, of course, because I'm a Link dealer. So I'm going to go ahead and I've already copied it to my clipboard, so I'm gonna just paste that there, and I'm gonna check the box. Unlock code is accepted. So now we're able to really connect to this thing and actually do some work. Okay, so we've got our ECU installed, everything hooked up now. So we got to go through and, you know, make sure everything is working. First thing though, this ECU has probably been sitting on the shelf, and different software versions have come out since it was built. So this is with pretty much any ECU that you're using. You're going to want to make sure that you have the matching firmware and software versions, because it could cause you problems. I personally have had an issue with that before. It was something I overlooked, and it caused me all kinds of headaches. So I won't do it again because it caused me so many headaches. So I want to share that with you guys. You know, some systems like the Holley EFI or whatever, they won't even let you keep going or even do anything until you update. But a lot of systems, they're not going to tell you. You got to look it up for yourself and see. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So what you're going to do, you're going to go to your ECU controls once again and go to upgrade firmware. And as you can see, there is a different firmware version than what is currently on this ECU. So it's going to ask you to want to read the notes first. I already read the notes, so I'm going to close that, and I'm going to go ahead and hit upgrade. And yes, I read it. Blah blah blah. It's you know, all the warnings that it has to tell you. So I'm gonna say yes, and it's gonna go through and do its thing. All right, and less than a minute goes by and it is done. That is one thing I can say that I'm very happy about, is that it doesn't take 20 to 30 minutes to update the firmware like some other softwares. That's really annoying, and I wish some of them would work a little bit faster, but for whatever reason, I don't know. I'm not a computer programmer, so I'm sure there's some reason why it has that issue. But this one is nice and quick. It's easy to do. There's no reason for you to not go through and make sure you do that when you do an install. All right, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. I got a couple, you know, little things to put back together or whatever, and I actually have to figure out what kind of injectors are in the car. I guess because maybe this car might have had a supercharger on it at one point in time. I'm thinking so, because of that ECU, how it was written on there, supercharged. And I noticed that the injector connectors didn't look like the stock injector connectors. And then I looked at the injectors, and they definitely don't look like the stock ones. Fortunately, the customer didn't tell me that going in, and I didn't see it, so we got to figure that out. For some reason, the injector part numbers are scraped off. A lot of companies will do that, unfortunately. Really screws you on the tuning end of things, so I got to do some research, figure that out. So I won't be starting this today, but it's there, it's ready to start. Everything's hooked up, wideband set up, all that good stuff. So just a matter of you know, getting that figured out so I can start it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this, and you know, I'll try to do more videos like this, a little more, maybe a little more in depth. Maybe we'll do something that's a little more difficult with more inputs and outputs and stuff, and kind of go through setting that up. But there really wasn't a lot of set up other than the wideband on this one. That's pretty simple. So but yeah, thanks for watching, and please comment, like, subscribe, whatever, share with your friends, and yeah, thanks for watching.